Oh, what's what? Hey, go. I'm known as the Godfather of Malaysian stand-up comedy only because I started in 1991 and there was no stand-up comedy at the time. In fact, there were no other stand-up comedians for the next 12 to 15 years in Malaysia. I was doing it alone. Props to the Malaysian police. Malaysian police are the most effective in the world, probably. You have the charge, arrest and payment system all in the same place. When I first started in Malaysia, the majority of the public had no idea what stand-up comedy was, what the form was. And admittedly, when you do a show in that environment, you have to water down. My job as a comedian is to realize where the fence is and push that fence. So I do remember in the first 5 to 8 years, whenever I did a show in a corporate event, the audience would look up and then I'd start my bits. And they didn't actually know who I was or what I was doing. They think I was, am I the chairman? Am I the CEO? Am I giving a speech? Then they'd start to laugh and then they go, oh, he's telling funny stories. Any Asian will tell you in this room, when you went to school, you got your report card, you hid it for 3.5 months. You hid your report card until eventually your parents were like, hey, your exam's finished 3 months ago, where's your report card? oh yeah, I forgot. And it does not matter what result you show them. And the Malaysian parents say, all right, let's have a look at the result. All right, science, 98% out of a possible 100, 98%. All right, what happened to the other 2 marks? Huh? What, you eat them, you ate the marks, is it? You ate the marks, huh? How come you didn't? Our neighbor got 114. Well, my time in Perth has become part of my stand-up comedy routine in certain shows. If you actually watch one of my shows, and I'll probably be doing it a bit later in the show, you know, as a Malaysian, I'd never left Malaysia before. Got off the plane, got an arrival lounge, got into a taxi, and I was like, oh my God, white flirt driving taxi. I was like, white man, no, let me drive. You sit behind, As a Malaysian, I was not used to this. So, then we were driving along and, white people doing construction, oh my God. White people picking up rubbish, I'm like, what is this land called Australia? What's going on? And then, I'm walking around and then I started to realize, all right, you've got the same things. You've got the streets, you've got a little bit less traffic than there is in KL. We have a mall, we have malls too. You've got a mall, yeah. Same kind of shops, you've got the supermarket, you've got the spectacle shop, you've got the magazine shop, it's same shops, except, one shop in Northbridge that I came across, black tinted windows, XXX adult shop. This shop I had never seen in Malaysia. I did not know what the shop was. The windows were tinted. Adult shop? What is adult? I was 18 at the time, but I was afraid of this shop because the windows were tinted. I would walk past this shop every single day, like, what the hell is in this shop? Why are the windows? I tried to look. I couldn't see. Couldn't see. It took me 3 months as a young Malaysian lad to work up the courage to finally have a look at what is in this bloody shop. I walked to the shop. I remember it was Friday afternoon. I looked, nobody watching. I went in the shop, cling, ding, 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 looked in, all Malaysian students inside. And one thing I realized very quickly about Australians was everywhere I walked, it was, g'day, how are you? Good morning, on the bus, on the train, in the shops, which is not a thing as Malaysians, we don't do that. As a Malaysian, I'm like, why are you talking to me? What do you want? In Malaysia, you ask someone if they're having a good day, you want something from them. Okay, I got to be honest. When my parents first said, "Hey, you're going to go and study in Australia and all," I resisted it only because I was 16, 17. I had all my buddies back in Malaysia. No, I got to go uproot and go to a different country and start all over again. And I resisted it big time for a long time. When I eventually got to Curtin, I took it upon myself as a Malaysian that I actually decided to hang out with Australians. At that time, there was a big Malaysian community, but I found that they hung out with themselves. And the only reason I did this was not to be snobby in any way, but I was thinking to myself, look, since I'm here for 3-4 years, I don't want to go back home and not know something different from what home was. So in terms of education, I believe it's not just an education within the walls of Curtin, what you get from Curtin, but also the experience, the life experience of living in a foreign country, in this case, Perth, Western Australia. But it was my first exposure to Australians in a working environment, not just Australians, but Italian Australians. And I quickly learned that Italian Australians are very much like Malaysians. They scream and shout at each other all the time when they're not actually angry. And that's what I tell students now, especially students who go overseas, and I say, great, grab the opportunity, but don't just think I've got to come back with the paper and the marks. Experience what that country is about, the good and the bad. Rosalind will be talking to the Guafanculo! And I'm like, is everything okay? No, it's all fine. People who I work with in the corporate world, and are hiring, often say to me, some of these kids, I want to hire them, they're the top of their class, blah, 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 but they have no life experience. I have performed in front of every Prime Minister since Mahathir, which is only 3. What I am most proud of is not actually what I've done on stage. I've had some amazing shows. The closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games in Malaysia in 1999. I hosted that, and that was broadcast live across the world, which I did not know at the time. I found out later, and I'm glad I did not know that it was broadcast live. So that's massive. I've performed in front of otters at the zoo, where the audience was there, and there was an otter pond in between me and that was amazing as well. So there's a wide scope of experiences. But what's made me most proud is, I do remember one time I was walking, I was on my way to a friend's house, got out of the car, and I got stopped by a gentleman who said, "Hey, Harith! Oh, hi, how are you? I'm your biggest fan." And he launched into how amazing I was and how good I was and how important I was and how he would tell my jokes to his friends during lunchtime. And he went on and on and on and on. And I was just standing there going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then it got a bit embarrassing because he wouldn't stop praising me. And I was like, thank you, thank you. Then after 15 minutes, I had a chance to speak. And I asked him, "What do you do, sir?" It turned out he's a pediatrician. He's a doctor, not just a doctor, a surgeon of children. And there was an outbreak of dengue fever at the time in Malaysia. And he was telling me about the children who had died on his operating table and the children he had saved. And then I felt so embarrassed because for the 15 minutes he was praising me when I should have been standing there praising him for saving children's lives. I realized what I was to him was I was a release. So once in a while he could come to a show of mine or watch a video and just laugh and then repeat my jokes to his friends. And I, therefore, became important to him. And I think this only happened about 6 years ago. I think that was the moment where the penny dropped and it struck me, oh my God, there is some value to what I do.